one of the most popular videos that we've ever done on the channel for Institute of Human Anatomy, the YouTube channel that is, was on alcohol. And I did it about 3 years ago. And I remember, like, at that time, I was actually drinking relatively heavily. Not like, I wouldn't say unhealthy, like, I wasn't a problem, but at the same time, in hindsight, I'm like, man, that was actually probably a decent amount. And I remember in the research for that video, I was kind of like, oh my God, this is crazy. Everything that I was learning myself with it. Um, it really just depends. You have to ask yourself, what part of the body are we really looking at? Because alcohol is going to affect everything. I mean, literally everything, because once it gets into your bloodstream, it's going to course over everything. It's going to affect your cartilage. It's going to affect your muscles. It's going to affect your bone. It's going to affect your brain. So then the question is, well, how much? And under what context does that become worrisome? If I have a glass of wine, is that a problem? I think everyone understands binge drinking isn't healthy. So it's like, where is this line? And what's interesting is in the couple years since I made that video, more data has come out that shows that there's essentially no safe level of alcohol consumption. Um, Now, okay, well, but how unsafe? And that's where things get a little harder to say. And again, it's not like you can't live life. It's not like you have to become some, just completely, isolate yourself in your room and just never do anything fun or interesting. At the same time, though, it's a literal poison. And so it's when it gets into your liver, the liver is going to actually convert it to a very toxic compound. And that toxic compound is what essentially is going to start making its way into your body to create hangovers, but it's going to interfere with muscle protein synthesis. So let's say you went to the gym, right? You got a good workout in. If you consume alcohol within 24 hours of that event, there is going to be some destruction of your gains and your protein synthesis. It's hard to pin down the exact number, but we do know that those who drink are not going to gain muscle as much as they would have. We see alcohol actually reduces the thickness of the gray matter in your brain. The gray matter is your consciousness, right? Like that is like the cells of the brain is where you're operational. If that gets thinner, it shows a reduced amount of brain activity. So it's quite literal. It's not just like you feel sluggish. Literally, your brain is shrinking. Now, if you remove alcohol from your diet, that can start to go back and it can go back very quickly. But you have to understand, like, I mean, it really becomes a question of which structure, because when the liver actually starts interacting with alcohol, not only does it make a toxic compound, it actually converts that alcohol to fat, a good amount of it, which is where you get fatty liver disease. So there's all sorts of things that it can interfere with. And then it starts to just become a question of which structure and how much are you drinking. At the same time, it's like a drink a week, which sounds like nothing. Um, is that going to be the end of the world? No. A drink a day is going to be worse than a drink of a week. And then you have to start playing this game. You have to look at your health. What are how's this affecting your blood pressure? I mean, like there's so many things that go with it. And it's hard to give like this clear answer outside of, I think we all know it's bad. The question is, what other stuff are you doing around it that might mitigate the damage? I think that's important. I'm not telling people obviously to do anything. It's just saying, like, at the end of the day, I mean, you're literally swallowing poison and your body recognizes it. It's for me, it's like, I'm not really that old. I'm 36, but at the same time, I've gotten to this point where it's like, I have a little bit of alcohol. The next day I'm just destroyed. And I'm like, oh, they're great. My day's shot. And so for me, honestly, one of the biggest motivators to stop drinking alcohol was just, I wanted to be more productive. And another thing too, is I really enjoy reading at night. Like I just love reading with a book, and I can't read if I've been having a drink, or if I do read, I can't remember it that well. So it doesn't even have to always be like this obscene focus on your body, as much as it might just be like, I mean, kind of feel terrible.
Is alcohol the most toxic and poisonous thing that people are putting in their body? How does it compare to fast food, processed food, Coca-Cola, sugar? Like, yeah, is alcohol at the top of the pyramid here?
It's a great question. It's hard to rank them. I almost wish we could, because then I think it'd be really easy from a communication standpoint. But at the same time, there are different metabolic pathways that are used in some cases with these different compounds, so it's like, even with fast food, is it like, is it McDonald's? Is it Taco Bell? Or like, at what point do we stop calling it fast food? What kind of, so how we can kind of like, you can start teasing this out. And it's like, what I would say though, is if I were to just, like right now, just talking blanketly to everyone, I would probably put it at the top of the list of what most people are doing in terms of just how global health, what it's doing to your physical body, all over the body. I think alcohol is probably at the top or very near the top. But at the same time, it's like I don't think we can properly rank like, okay, McDonald's double cheeseburger or like a drink of whiskey. It's hard to kind of compare them that directly, but if it's not good for you, it's definitely near the top.
Yeah, because it's impacting other things outside of just the metabolic function, like you said, right? Like how it's decreasing the brain. I don't think a cheeseburger is going to decrease the gray matter in your brain, and it's not getting into the bloodstream there as well. So, yeah, that's great.